So I do have to ask, what are you drinking tonight? That's what I'm wondering.
I thought that'd be revealed later in the episode, Deeb.
Oh, it's a secret?
Oh, I can reveal my secrets. Got
Wow.
a nice bottle of Dark Arts,
Ooh.
barely legal, cash strength.
Is that one you just
Honestly,
got?
I've had it for, gosh, I think I got it back in September when I was down in Cincinnati area. Um, there's like this giant liquor store right next to New Riff, right over
Mm-hmm.
the border there in like Covington, Kentucky. Um, yes, went in there and found it, and honestly, a really good bottle.
Was it the one that's literally in the parking lot? That's what you're talking about, the liquor store?
Yeah, yeah, Party Source, I think it is. It's like just this
Party.
Walmart bourbon
Mm-hmm.
store. It's not just bourbon, but yeah, it's huge. So,
That place, honestly, the first time I ever went there was probably like, I think it was the first time we went on the trail a few years ago, and I was shook when I walked in there because you just walk in and it's like, you're like, which way do I go? Do I go
literally.
this way? Do I like, there's so
Yeah.
much selection. It's like almost overwhelming.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, it's like the liquor is half of it, but then like the beer section is unreal too.
So I am actually curious because I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but what actually got you into bourbon? Like where did this all start? Because I know you've been you've been definitely on the I'll call it the hunt and kind of the coming up in your bourbon journey.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, gosh, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, I'd have been like, bourbon tastes like crap. Like, I don't know how people drink it, giving people a hard time for sipping Weller, but I don't know, man. Some people around me just kept drinking bourbon and got me to try it a little bit. And actually, there was kind of a defining moment.
Hmm.
I went to this random bar in Birmingham, Michigan, and they had this. I ordered an old fashioned. It was actually
Mm-hmm.
called an old Woodward there, they had this I don't know, cherry infused old fashioned, and like it just hit right.
Hmm.
And ever since then I was like, all right. So I slowly started, like, I think the first bottle I ever bought was Knob Creek, and this was like a year ago. Like, oh yeah, I think I bought some Bob Creek or Knob Creek, started making my old fashions at home, and then like it was just hook, line, and sinker, dude. I went from like having one or two bottles and like whatever. And really went on the hunt this past summer, and dude, I gotta have like, I don't know, dude. I would tell my girlfriend it's 40 bottles, but I'm probably closer to 65 at this point.
Damn, so
I
you
got
went
backups for my backups at this point,
That's how you know you're in deep. When you have
dude.
bottles, when you have QB number 3 in your lineup and you're ready to go in case
Yeah,
QB number 1 and 2 are done.
for sure. So I don't
I
know, dude. I
mean,
need to have like a bourbon party to get through some of it. And every one of them, not every one of them, but like everything, I got at least one of everything open. Let's put it that way. So ain't going bad.
do you have like a dedicated space right now?
Yeah, dude. I got it's pretty makeshift, if you will, but I got like a closet under my stairs that I like put a Rubbermaid cabinet up or a shelf up in, and just got everything on that.
Ah, okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's
Honest,
crazy. It's crazy how quickly that grows and then it turns into like, wow, I need like a room for all this.
yeah, 100%. The dream's probably a bar someday, but we'll
Oh,
get there.
what is it though? What obviously I know, it's kind of one of those things where you get into it. And I've gone through this as well. So I want to hear your perspective because we never really talked about it more in depth, but like what do you think it is about it? What is the like what's the draw?
I don't know, man. It's kind of, some of it I think's a crock, right? Like some of it's the hype. You see something that you can't always find, and it's like, oh, I wanna have that. That way I can say I have it. But like from like an actual like part of where I enjoy bourbon is just the simplicity of it. Like I can just pour a little 1 or 2 ounce pour and sit on the couch and kind of relax. And if that's all I have for the night, that's great. But it tastes good. Like I don't know, all the different flavor profiles. Like it's just something different. It doesn't sit heavy on your stomach. So yeah, I think that's a big piece of it for me.
I think, well, I'm kind of afraid to even reveal this, but I think one thing that I think would, and I don't want to say make it worse, but I think one thing that would be interesting, and I'd be curious what your kind of reaction would be is if you go to, and I don't think you told me you haven't done any of the Bourbon Trail yet, right?
No, I did a Jack Daniels tour, but that's not
Okay.
the same thing, right?
I'd be curious if that has any impact on you at all. Just because for me at least when we did that, that's when it really like took off where I was like I don't know how to explain it. It was I think kind of more of what you're describing, and then once we went and did a couple tours, it was like you just learn about the history and like where it came from and how it's made, and there's just all this stuff that then just comes to life. And the one thing that I note that a lot of people will always tell you, or at least you kind of learn, in some of the tours that are better, is it's the fact that I think the bourbon brings people together. Like that's why people really like it. Like, you talk about all the things and stuff, and then you're like, well, yeah, it's great because then, like, I have something I could share with somebody. We can come together, we can have a drink, we can cheers, we can talk, talk sports, talk life, all that kind of stuff. And I think deeper down, that's kind of what I started to learn as we would do the tours over and over again. I was like, this is a reason for us to come down here and spend time together.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's cool. I haven't, like I said, I haven't done any of the tours yet. But yeah, I mean the camaraderie in it, like, right? We stopped playing Xbox and we started drinking bourbon together. And like, I mean, just a couple months ago, like I, and a couple of our friends got together and we did a tasting night, and like
Hmm.
that was a really good time. Like you get four people who are really interested in bourbon in the same room, and we're just trying to, pull notes out of it and
Hmm.
rate them and rank them. But I mean, that was a really fun time, especially towards the end, right? When we started, uh, you were pulling out bottles blind, asking
Mm,
us what we thought they were, and that was the most fun I thought.
yeah.
I don't know. It's weird though. Like, I don't know if you have this, but like, I kind of go in waves where like some weeks or whatever, I'm like all into bourbon, and then like I could go for a stretch where I'm like, I don't even care about it. Oh, I'm not trying to buy any bottles right now. I don't even care. So it just kind of it comes and goes
Yeah, I would say for me, it's tapered down. I think that's more so because I feel like I, have located things that I like. I have things that I feel like, hey, I can, I want to drink some of these. I want to share some of these with friends, etc. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I still keep my eye out there. But I think once you get to a certain point, at least for me, it was like, all right, I want to actually enjoy this now. There's always the hunt always continues, but it wasn't like once you I think establish your roster, then you're like, all right, let's go out there and put it in to action, baby.
for sure,
So,
for sure.
but Travis, for those that don't know you, you've actually been on the podcast before, so some might think, oh, this is the first time I've never seen this guy or who is Travis. We were on the podcast episode about maybe a month ago now, where we were all in Arizona. We went to the waste management. I think for all of us or most of us, it was our first PGA Tour event. So I know we had a real good time on that podcast. It was but five or six of us, and kind of a wild after a hibachi night type of podcast in a garage. So that was a lot of fun. But for anybody that either doesn't know you or maybe some of those that recognize you, what would you say is your connection to sports? Right, because we talked a little bit about bourbon, but I'm curious to hear more about your connection with sports. Like, did you play sports? Do you watch sports? Do you have favorite teams? What are sports to you?
Yeah, I mean, I played high school football in high school, actually, elementary all the way up through high school. So that was like my main sport. I played baseball when I was younger, kind of got out of that, gave wrestling a go, so I've always like been drawn to sports, but football was always the one that stood out to me. My teams, have always been Michigan has always been my team. Definitely a fair weather fan there, but so the last few years have been pretty cool.
Mm,
But it was tough sledding for a while, and then my other team, NFL, is Pittsburgh Steelers. I get a lot of hate for that, but that had a lot of good years rooting for the Steelers too. But it's not been so great lately. So we're looking at a new coach and all that this year. So I guess I'm excited, although I don't expect a lot. You know.
Mm-hmm. Why the Steelers?
Yeah, it's actually kind of random. Growing up, same area as you, but my dad was always a Steelers fan, and he just, I guess that's what we watched growing up, and it didn't help. It didn't hurt that they were, always a pretty good team, So right around that defining age, I was 10, 11 years old when we were winning Super Bowl 40 with Jerome Bettis and, Ben Roethlisberger and Heinz Ward, right? So it was just a perfect storm.
Okay, so it comes from your childhood. Sounds like your dad was a fan, and you just kind of grew up watching them play, and so it wasn't something like particular, like, "Hey, my family's from here," or anything weird like
No,
that. It was more just like it was your dad's team, and so you kind of followed
yeah,
in the footsteps.
yeah, I just passed it down to me.
Okay. And the other thing I'll ask you is, I am curious too. So with Michigan, right? Is that just football? Do you follow like other sports with them? Do you care? I mean, obviously, I know their basketball team is doing really well this year, and we're going to talk about some March Madness tonight. But curious, is it mainly football, or do you just follow like other stuff as well?
I mean, primarily football, right? I do follow basketball a little bit, but it's like generally once it gets important. We're getting into the tournament, so it's like, or the Big Ten tournament was just this last weekend. Like, I'm watching that, but
Mm,
your regular season, I'm not watching so much. I don't really follow it too much. I think Michigan hockey's cool. But yeah, those are probably, basketball and football are the main two for me with Michigan.
okay. So the Steelers, they got a new head coach. Looks like they're making some moves right now in free agency. I saw that they have just picked up a pretty good running back in Rico Dowdell, which I really didn't know who that was until this past year, and because I had Chuba Hubbard in fantasy and he got hurt, and I didn't pick up Rico because I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he ended up being a beast. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on the situation in Pittsburgh. Do you feel good about what's going on there? Do would you make some changes if you had the say in there? What do you think is going to happen in 2026 with the football team?
Yeah, it'll be weird, right? We don't know who our quarterback's going to be at this point, at least to my knowledge. So is Aaron Rodgers going to come back? I don't know. It seems like a 1-year plan if he does.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there? If we look elsewhere, I mean, I guess you got Mason Rudolph and Will Howard on the bench. So
Hmm.
do you give one of those guys a chance? I don't know. But I mean, I do like, yeah, I mean, Rico's a good addition. I think we're still hanging on to Kenny Gainwell, which he was a monster last season. So I like that. Um, I guess you still have DK Metcalf and you have Michael Pittman. So a couple of big receivers that seems, like, all right, we're really going for this thing. Kind of, I mean, that seems like Mike McCarthy, right? Like
Hmm.
uh, your Lazards and Valdez Scantlings or, your big wide receivers, pass heavy offense. It seems like Aaron Rodgers would eat that up, but I don't know, man. It's the defense is stout and I know they're adding some talent there. So I mean that seems like it's secured, but the offense just hasn't been productive for years. And that's
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing that I would target.
So were you
It's tough.
sad at all when they parted ways with Tomlin, or were you more like, it's time for a change?
I was surprised. I mean, he's been there for so long and it's like it was just so mediocre though. Like people have been saying for years, like he's just good enough to not lose his job. I don't know. There was all the speculation around like, did he lose? Did he walk away, or was there something else going on in the background that all kind of died down? But
Mm,
I wouldn't say I was sad. I mean, they won in '08 with him, but it's been first round knockouts basically ever since then. So I guess I'm excited to see what comes, but I don't know if Mike McCarthy really gives me the warm and fuzzy feeling either.
yeah. He kind of has some mixed results, from what I've
Yeah,
seen, and I mean he's coached some high profile teams, but it doesn't necessarily mean he may or may not be your guy. So be
right.
curious to see how that. And I am curious if Aaron Rodgers is coming back or not. I mean, you got to think though, if he doesn't come back, they might be in a little bit of a trouble situation unless they, unless they draft. You think maybe I mean, they got Will Howard, so you'd think unless he's dog water, which most Ohio State quarterbacks are in the NFL. Um, you got Will Howard, right? So
Yeah.
is it him? Is it someone else? Are they going to pick someone up or trade for someone? So,
I feel like he was like a good value, right? I mean, like maybe he'll be, something. He might be able to make something out of himself, but I don't see him being like the guy.
hmm.
He'd be like a good backup, but I just can't see him being a Joe Burrow ever, right? So I don't know if that's who I want when I'm used to, having Ben Roethlisberger as my quarterback for, however many years, 15 or more. It's just like it's hard to think of anybody else, running that offense. So
So if you had let's say that you're the GM or whatever, somebody that's in, the decision making seat, who do you think actually would fit the best at QB with that team? Like if you could pick one ideal guy right now, who would you try to either trade for or draft? Or, I mean, obviously there's free agency, but I can't imagine it's a free agent, but
dude, that's a tough one. I mean, honestly, it's not uh, a subject that I've given much thought to just because it just
mhm.
doesn't seem feasible. I guess I would picture a bigger quarterback, like maybe a Justin Herbert. I don't know, that doesn't even feel good to say. I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't know. It's really tough. I don't have a great answer for you, Deeb, to be honest.
so I'm trying to think who did McCarthy coach? He coached the Packers, and was he with the Cowboys too, right?
Cowboys for a bit, yep.
So he had Dak, and then he had probably would
Aaron
have been
Rodgers.
Aaron Rod. Well, yeah. Well, did he coach during Jordan Love though? I wonder if he was
No,
still
I don't
there.
think
No.
so. I think you'd been with the Cowboys at that time.
Okay,
Because
so
Jordan
he
Love's
really,
only 4 seasons in.
yeah. Well, okay, so he's used to Aaron Rodgers, which I mean that's fine, but I mean, are there quarterbacks out there that are, I don't want to call them comparable, but you know what I mean? That's like kind of that
Right.
style, a little bit mobile, can make, I mean, Justin Herbert, I agree. That's kind of that
Josh
style.
Allen,
Josh
you
Allen,
know,
yeah.
yeah, he's somebody I'd, love to see back there, although he hasn't really done he hasn't had found that success, right? Like
Yeah.
he's always
Well,
in the conversation, but
I'm wondering too, so their divisions, what, the Browns, the Ravens, and who am I missing? There's one more
Browns,
team.
Ravens, Bengals.
Bengals. So I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen still got to get through Lamar, but who knows what's going to happen in Baltimore now. So
Right.
he's had trouble getting past Mahomes. He's had trouble getting past Lamar. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's in the same scenario. It's kind of hard to tell. But I like the thought process. He's a mobile guy. He's gritty.
Right.
He kind of is a little Aaron Rodgers like, I would say, in some ways, shape or form of his play. But be really interesting to see what happens, man. I mean, this past year the NFL was, and I always say it was crazy. Like what happened with the Colts, and just
Sure.
injuries in the 49. Like it was just such a random year for the NFL that I don't think anything that we crystal balled, there's no way to predict anything. So we'll see what happens with the QB situation there. Be curious to
Yep.
see how that
And
goes.
you'd have to think, right? Like if anybody's going to get Rodgers to play another year, it'd be McCarthy, but
Oh yeah.
you never know.
I think he comes back, to be honest, especially since they did the coaching change. But
Yeah.
I mean, if he hates Mike McCarthy, maybe he won't. But I don't know.
I think they have a good relationship.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not as privy to that. But so big news that's going to be happening this week is March Madness, and I know that we started the Single Barrel Sports. We started a free bracket, sent it out to people. So curious, number one, your thoughts on like what are your thoughts on March Madness in general? Is it something you look forward to? Is it something where you're like, it's cool, but I don't really watch the games. I'll fill out a bracket or whatever. Like, what does March Madness mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something I always look forward to. Like I said a little bit ago, like I don't watch men's basketball until it gets down to like something important, and March Madness is that. So when the stakes are high and kind of it's kind of like anything can happen in the March Madness tournament. It's like it's exciting. It gives you something to look forward to at this time of year when there's really not a lot going on. And so yeah, I always tune in. I always fill out a bracket. It's just good TV.
So are you someone who likes, like, what's your bracket count like? Are you one of these people that does like 10 brackets and just, goes for it all, tries to just kind of like put as many out there as possible? Are you just like, I'll fill out one or two if someone asks me? Do you like to bet on them? Do you like, just like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do some free ones?
I'm like into, so I filled out one for yours, but Um, if I do another, it would be like a work pool or something like that. I did get invited to one at work, so I'll probably do that, throw $10 on it or whatever it is, and pretty decent chance. I've been successful in those before. Not saying I know a ton this year, but when you're only playing against 25 guys, your odds sure go up. So yeah, one or two for me. What about you?
Yeah. I used to be kind of a lot more into it where I would do, like 10 of them or five or whatever. Like any ones I'd get invited to, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. As long as it wasn't like crazy money, like, hey, $10, whatever, $20. And I don't know. It just kind of got to one of those points where like you do so many of them, you don't really like know who to root for, right? You're just like, obviously I want to win the bracket, but then it's like, well, in one bracket I picked this team, the other one I picked this team. So like it almost caused too much confusion where I was like, I don't really have anyone to root for. I mean, if I was trying to do this just to make money, that's one thing, but I severely decreased it to maybe one, two max if I'm going to do that. I mean, I've been mainly doing just one. This year I've done two, which is a little abnormal for me, but I got a unexpected invite to one to throw down like $20, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, why not?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's fun. It's something it keeps you invested at least. I think that's why I do it.
yeah. So let me ask you this though: if you could change anything about like how the bracket either is seeded or how many teams or just anything in general about the bracket and the tournament itself, is there anything that you would change, number one? And number two, what would it be if there is something that you think, that you would want to change if you had the power to do so?
Yeah. I mean, I know there's like kind of a debate that circles the NCAA tournament where it's like, UMBC can knock out whoever they took out a few years ago, or um, 16 beats a one, and it's like, okay, how many times out of 100 is that actually going to happen? But I think that that's like the beauty of the tournament. It's exciting, like, especially if it's a team you don't like. I remember several years ago, Michigan State lost to Middle Tennessee State, and it was like, good, get them out of there. I mean, it's just like awesome to see those teams lose. But like, I mean, if Michigan loses to the 16 seed this year, who are they even playing?
Someone random. I
Howard.
know.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Yeah,
never know the
where's
16s.
Howard? Yeah, but it's
DC.
like, if we get bounced to Howard in the first round, I'll be sick. But
Yeah.
honestly, like, no, I don't really think there's a lot to change about it. I mean, sure, you're gonna have those upsets, but again, I think that's the beauty of the tournament.
Do you think there's too many teams that get in or too little?
Definitely not too little. I mean, I would err on too many, if anything, but I really, I don't know, man. It's all I know. I honestly, I think it's quite perfect.
So, in comparison, though, the college football playoff bracket, which I know is newer, generally speaking, and just went through
Mhm.
an expansion, that gets a lot of flack. Why do
Right.
you think that is in comparison?
I don't know. I mean, what kind of flack are you talking about exactly?
Uh, People will say that some teams didn't deserve to get in. There was like the controversy this past year about Notre Dame, and then they didn't do the bowl game because of it. Some teams, some will say, well, why did JMU get in? Why did Tulsa get in, or Tulane,
Sure.
excuse me? These are bad teams. There's no way they're going to be, in football. There's no way
Right.
they have a chance about to face some of these power teams. So it's gotten some flack for that, for teams that get in, teams that don't. Some people say it should be more. Some people have talked about the time between when your season's over till if you are one of those 4 bye teams, it's like almost a month that passes by until you play again. So, I
Sure.
mean, there's been a lot of, I think, pushback on the current bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I guess football is just a completely different sport, right? It's more physical. Like you can't, if there's one thing you can't do, it's train size. Skill basketball is more of a skilled sport, and so I think there's a little bit more parity between a Howard and a Michigan or what have you. But um, I think that's a challenge. It's just you, and also too, like you can have a team of seniors, and that's how all these smaller schools get in, right? They're all
Hmm.
generally an older team. Either they're more physical or just more skilled and more well-rounded at that point. But I think that's kind of the difference between the two. It's like a skilled sport versus a physical sport, and eventually those physical teams are just going to wear you down in football.
Yeah. So you think there's more chance in basketball for an underdog to win maybe than in football?
For sure. Yeah.
At least in the tournament or the bracket, let's call it.
Yep. Yeah, because it's one and done. I mean, that's again, if it was a best of three, like your one seeds are gonna probably take two out of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
I
it's
mean,
a maybe it's a defense they haven't seen, right? Like
yeah.
could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, it's weird because it does seem like the March Madness bracket just works. I don't know how they got it down so well, right? Like I don't actually know the history of the bracket. Like maybe this is their 10th iteration, in the past. I don't really know much about, like, did they go through many iterations to get to the point where they're like, yeah, this is the one that works, quote unquote the best or the smoothest. So I do hope though that the college football playoff one at least works some of the issues that people, I think, and people are always going to complain no matter what, but I do think some of them are legitimate things that are,
Yeah, for sure.
so. But so generally speaking though, from the bracket perspective, I am curious. How about we do some picks? We can do some picks at the end if people are interested, and we can just kind of give some hot takes on, because I think you and I both filled out a bracket for the league. But maybe we can just give people some picks at the end here to see what we're thinking in terms of the bracket.
Yeah,
That
for
sound good?
sure.
Okay,
Sounds good to me.
cool. Well, I have some. I have another thing that I'm curious what your thoughts are. I oftentimes will do this, sometimes with Scott, and I tell him that I like to be on Twitter or X or whatever people call it these days a lot, and especially for sports stuff. And I'll get like deep into these rabbit holes where I find like questions or threads or something, or someone will like ask good questions, and people then give their opinions on stuff. So um, one of the ones that I saw, I have a couple of them, but one of the ones that I saw this week, which I thought was really interesting, was, what sport do you think would be the hardest to commentate for?
Man, I mean, it's got to be like a sport you don't know that well. Um, maybe honestly, it'd be like boxing or like MMA. I just feel I feel like half the time in those sports, like the action's happening faster than I can even register what's going on. Even the guy who's getting punched, like he doesn't even know what hit him until he's like on the canvas. So I don't know. That might be a really tough one to kind of commentate and be able to be like, I'm really relying on the announcers to tell me what just happened in that sport. But that's a tough question.
Because you got to know like the moves, and you know what I mean. You almost have to like
Right.
really know mixed martial arts
Yeah.
to understand why is someone doing something. At least if you want to be a good commentator, like I think you or I could do it, but it would might be, you know what I mean. It would probably not be the best in terms of like broadcast. We'd be like, oh shit, he just punched him. Like that would probably be
Yeah.
more of what it is versus like the
Right.
technical stuff, but.
Right.
I agree. That one you probably do require more technical knowledge than maybe on the surface what you would.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
You got
trying to
anything
think.
out there?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's definitely a lot of opinions that were shared on it, that people said, and everybody has, obviously their own take on it. I actually think that I know this sounds kind of weird, but football would actually be kind of tough to commentate. I do think that unless you really know the game, like those guys, if you really pay attention, you get a good commentator, they like really go into depth about certain things, right? Like yeah, there's times where it's more surface level, but I mean, those guys really know their stuff. And so I think it would be challenging because you have 11 different positions on both sides of the ball. And depending on what you're focusing on, like you really got to kind of know a little bit about each of them and why they do things. Why do coaches run certain plays? Why do certain defenses scheme certain ways? Like you almost kind of have to be almost an expert to know the details of it because on the surface level it seems easy, but I actually think that one would be tougher than people think it would be.
Sure. I mean, I'm always impressed with like, I mean, a lot of people hate Romo, but like, I'm always impressed when he's like, oh, it's going to be a quarterback draw or whatever, a play action pass.
Hmm.
Like, he always predicts the play. And like, I think that's super impressive because I bet you 85% of the time he's right. But it's like, yeah, you got to see the game like from, three levels out. And, it is impressive too, right? Those guys do at least one game a week, but they know every player on the field. They have like some little story queued up for um, every player or impact player anyway. And it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Like they just really immerse themselves, and you really got to keep a pulse on, the league to be able to do that. So, I mean, an expert is saying the least for what those guys are able to accomplish week to week. But yeah, I mean, it's cool too, right? They have, your typically your play caller type, and then you got the color guy that just kind of sprinkles in the little information here and there. But
Hmm.
it would definitely be harder than it seems on the surface. Football is probably the sport most people know the most about. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. I think if you want to be an elite commentator, that would be, probably the major difference is what's your skill level. Like, you or I could probably do, again, commentate probably better than UFC if I had to guess, or boxing. But I think if you really want to like break it down, you really got to do your homework and know your stuff. So,
I mean, even Tom Brady, like he came, this was his second or third year, is it? And like
mhm.
he's gotten a whole lot better. But that first season, it was like I didn't want to listen to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for him, he knows so much about reading defenses in the game that I'm sure they probably had to work to scale him back to where they're like,
Sure.
dude,
Yeah.
Tom, you're explaining this shit that people at home are drinking beer and eating wings. They don't know what you're talking about. Like
Right.
you're
Yeah.
going a little too far, buddy, for your average viewer
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So there was another one that I saw, which is a really, really interesting question. What do you think is the best sports movie of all time if you had to pick it? So it's all opinion based, but there was a lot of back and forth that people were dropping all sorts of classics.
Yeah. Man. For me, it's gonna be a football movie, and I'm gonna list three because I don't know that I have a clear and defined favorite, but um, any given Sunday, Friday Night Lights, and then uh, I feel stupid. I can't even come up with the name of the movie.
Is it
Come on, dude.
Remember
It's
the
like the
Titans?
classic. Yeah, I remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Dude, what an idiot.
Hey, there's a lot of movies out there to be fair. So
There it is, dude. But yeah, I
but
mean,
if you
it's
had to
got to be
pick
one of
one
those.
out of those three, what would you pick? Like if you were like,
Oh
"Hey,
man,
there's only one of these I could watch for the rest of my life, and the other two I have to burn."
I don't know, man. I think probably remember the Titans just because it's more of like a feel good
Hmm.
kind of movie. But I don't know, Jamie Foxx and any given Sunday is kind of sick.
Okay, that's fair. I think those are all three are probably very popular choices. If I had to guess, if you look through kind of what people would say, I'll give you two. One of them that some people would maybe say is controversial, but one of them I think is actually very underappreciated. And the one that I think is controversial, let me start with that one because the reason why I think some people would say it's controversial is because is this a sport? Yes. Is it one that people would consider a sports movie? Maybe. Like it kind of I think you'll understand when I tell you what it is, just based on like the actual movie itself. But I would say the Rocky series would be, in my opinion, some of the best movies of all time. Now, you could argue, like, was it a movie and then there was a sport involved and it just so happened to be boxing? Maybe. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? The controversy might be out on that one in terms of what people think. But the other one that I'll bring up that is maybe less controversial or more sports related would be have you ever seen it's the basketball movie about it's like a small team down in, I believe, Texas that won I think it's like the state championship. Do you know what movie I'm talking about? Have you heard of
No,
this
it's not
movie that I'm
ringing a bell.
describing? I'm trying to see if I can give you clues so you can it's based in, I think, West Texas. I'm curious if you've seen this movie or not.
The only thing I'm thinking of is like Coach Carter, but I don't even think.
Close. So it's Glory Road.
I've never seen it. No.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Oh my God. Yeah, so it's a really cool story, man. It's like it's like in the 1960s, and it's some team out of Texas that essentially they make history by having the first ever all black starting five, like in college history.
Okay.
And they end up making it to the NCAA championship, which, like, this team was like a nobody, you know what I mean? This is like, imagine literally like a 16 seed. So let's just put it that way. But they end up going to the championship and playing Kentucky, and they beat them. Like, it's, I don't know, man. Like if you watch it, it's just such a like
Based on
it's
a true story?
based on a true story. You know, it's, I don't know. It's wild. Like, one of the better basketball movies, I would say, that's out there.
Yeah. I'm looking it up now. 1966 Texas Miners.
Yeah. Very, very, more like an underdog story, but very
Sure.
well done. Very well done movie, I gotta say. Um, Another one that I was curious to hear your thoughts are is, who do you think is the most overrated athlete of all time?
Man. Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is like Jamarcus Russell. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Dude, he like was like a first round pick, went to the Raiders, I believe. And like that was like his whole allure was like his arm, like he could throw 80 yards from his knees or whatever. And he was just nothing. Like I don't even know how many games he played, but I remember he was like a complete dud. And I feel like there's like even some good stories about him where, they'd send him home with film and like the the tapes would be blank or something along those lines. And they'd be like, "Yep, did you watch film?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I watched it." And they're like, "Oh, really?" But he just didn't give a shit once he got into the league. So, yeah, he's one that stands out for me.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's not one that I would have thought of, but yeah, you're right. He was the number one pick, which is kind of crazy, because
Yeah.
you'd think I mean, I'd be curious how many number one picks actually make it in the league. Like, what's the average lifespan of a career of a number one pick? That's kind of
Yep.
that'd be a good, like, research question. So mine, I'm gonna go to basketball. I don't know why I'm in a basketball mood. Maybe it's because of March Madness tonight, but you'll recognize this name. So we're gonna rewind the clock back to 2003. I
Oh,
think you
I
were
already know. I almost gave this one, dude, actually. If it's
you
the
were
same one where we're from, it has to be, but go on.
yeah. So back in 2003, I think what I was probably in middle school, maybe. I'm trying to even remember. It was a while back, but this was a time where maybe possibly maybe the greatest NBA draft in the last 2 decades that happened. This was the year that LeBron was picked, Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. I mean, there is just a whole list of guys that are Hall of Fame. finals MVPs, NBA final champions, all that good stuff. And the Detroit Pistons decide with the number, I think it was number 2 pick, if I'm not mistaken, behind LeBron, to select Darko Milicic, some random dude from, I think he was from like Serbia or somewhere over in Europe. And
Serbia. Yeah.
just a random guy that, you know what I mean, is like, given the people that were in that draft class and all of the people that came right after that pick, unreal, man, how overrated that guy was. Like, he never worked out. I just remember he like dyed his hair. He had like the frosted tips, and he was just horse shit on that team. And you're
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
dude, the Pistons could have had Carmelo or Wade or Bosh, and they passed on all those guys for Darko
Yep.
Milicic.
Yeah, man. That's given Detroit some heartburn for a lot of years. But honestly, I mean, it's been 20 years now, but can't say enough about today's Detroit Pistons, dude.
Yeah, they've been on a roll. I'll be honest, I don't really follow NBA much these days. I used to really, really like NBA back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I would call it, when it was, at least for me, I thought it was like a really exciting time. I mean, obviously I was younger, but I really haven't followed too much NBA recently, but I keep hearing that the Pistons do you know if they're like still the top of the division or top of the East right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure where they are, but yeah, they're up there, right?
Yeah.
They're a darn good team. Kate Cunningham is really. I honestly didn't believe in him when we picked him. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't like the pick. Not that I'm anybody who should be giving anybody basketball advice, but uh, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm like, he's not going to be the guy. But I mean, hat off to him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting back to those early 2000s Detroit teams. I mean, they're not really as tough or what have you, but not even Isaiah Stewart though. He is tough, so
Yeah.
I can't even say that. Like, I like to see that chippiness out of him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of got into a little quarrel with, I think it was like it was like the Pelicans or something like that. I saw a clip of maybe about a month and a half ago where they were like in each other's faces and stuff. And I was like, uh-oh, not another one of these.
Right?
So,
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking right now, man. They're number one in the East
yeah, they got,
by a 4 game margin. So
I always get nervous with Detroit teams because like last year, the Tigers were destroying people at the beginning of the year, and it was like, oh my God, this team's so good. And then they literally just fell apart at the end. So I'm like, I don't even like to celebrate Detroit teams until we're in the playoff because
it
it's
just,
like,
dude,
I don't know.
it feels like the Michigan way. Like, it doesn't matter what sports team. It's just like when the big moment comes, like we just don't deliver. It really, it just, maybe it's just our bias. Probably, I'm sure there's plenty of sports towns that feel that way, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know, man. I mean, the Lions, right? They were right there for their shot at the Super Bowl, and they blow it. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that a Detroit team somewhere comes up victorious in something because I feel like the state needs another championship in a pro sport, right? It's been way too long since what it was probably honestly the Pistons were last. I mean, Red
Probably the
Wings
Red
maybe?
Wings.
I don't know. I was going to say
Yeah,
I'm not as familiar
probably the
with
Red
hockey,
Wings.
but Pistons were what, like 03, 04, whatever. Is like, I mean, that was a while ago now,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah, Lions are tough, man. That San Francisco game still sticks in my head. I got one more question. We can do some picks.
Yeah.
What do you think which sport has the toughest championship to win?
Man, it's got to be one of those sports with a long season. Like, I feel like NBA or hockey, maybe hockey.
Hmm.
It's just like those guys play. NBA is 83 games. I'm not sure what hockey is off the top of my
Similar.
head.
I think it's similar.
Yeah, yeah. Those seasons kind of go hand in hand, but it's like those guys, and then every round is a best of seven. So those are tough. Um, but I mean, when you get a dominant team, uh, it, you know. it seems easy, like the Golden State or whatever. It seems like when they went on the run, it was just easy for them. So I don't know too. Like football is kind of one of those where I mean, how many? There's never been a three-peat, has there?
I mean, not 3 years in a row. I think there's been
Right.
teams that have won 3, but like the Patriots, they won 2 in a row or something, or they had one like it was like every other year almost. Yeah, I don't know that
Yeah.
there's been like a 3 in a row if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
that's just a lot of games, right? Like you still have to play at a super high level and then you just got to be gassed by the end of the season, and it only gets more and more competitive as those either NBA or NHL seasons go along.
Yeah, well, baseball is also a pretty long season, but I don't know. Baseball, I'm not, and not disregarding it, but I just don't know that baseball is as, yes, you're playing, yes, you're active, yes, there's running. It just, you know what I mean? It's a non contact sport generally. So a lot of it is more like running than
I think it's
anything.
hard on the pitchers.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard on a pitcher, but like anybody else, I feel like baseball's pretty relaxed.
Yeah, definitely. Um, So, okay, I promised you we'll do some picks, but I wanted to bring up one more thing because I thought that this was interesting. And we used to do this more so in the past, but it's this concept in just general of like some crazy records. So, like looking back at what are like just some unreal records in different pro sports that you're like, number one, that's just crazy to hear. And number two, I want to hear what your thoughts are. Like, do you think anyone will ever actually break this in the future? Is it a breakable record or not realistically? So the first one is the record for the most points in an NBA game. And I bring this one up because, as you may have heard, because it feels like the whole world somehow heard, is Bam
Yeah.
Adebayo
Yeah.
scored, what is it, like 83 points or something not that long ago. So
Yeah.
I looked it up because I was curious if the record still stood from when I learned it when I was younger. So Wilt Chamberlain still holds the record of 100 points in a game. Do you think that that will ever be broken by an NBA player?
I don't think so, man. They really got to be trying. The last time, I mean, Bam, a very random person to beat Kobe's record of what, 81 was
Hmm.
it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, never thought. I mean, if I would have guessed somebody who's gonna beat Kobe's record, I'd have been like, yeah, it's probably Steph or something like that. But to hear Bam break it, it's kind of interesting. But I mean, it's literally got to be so intentional to beat Wilt's record. So my bet's on no
Yeah.
for that one.
I agree. I mean, I think the Heat scored 150 in that game where he scored 83. I mean, dude, if you're scoring over 100, your team's scoring like 170. Like, you know what I mean? Is it by chance you go into like 2 or 3 overtimes or something weird where like you just keep getting, but then at that point, it's like,
Right.
I mean, how many shots are you going to make? I don't know, man. That's
Yeah.
even 83 is a lot, but like 100 is like you're still 17 points off.
Right. I mean, I mean, what, 20%? Like more than what he got. You need a whole nother quarter for that. So yeah, tough one to break.
Okay, next one in football. Well, the next two are in football. One's pro, one's college. Brett Favre, 297 consecutive starts all time.
So
What do you
that's
think?
when what a football season was 16 games.
I think so. I
So
can't
that's
remember if it, I don't,
18.
I can't remember if that includes playoffs or not. I would imagine it may
Sure.
not, but I'm not 100% sure.
Even if it does, I mean, 18 and a half seasons that you didn't miss a start. That's crazy, dude. I mean, that's more than most people's NFL careers. And like the guy was just there
Yeah.
it's like the guy who, brags about at the factory. He's like, oh, I never called off sick a day in my life. It's like, cool. Yeah.
For 20 years.
Yeah. Like, all right, cool. When you retire, we'll just hire somebody else. But I mean, like for Brett, for Favre to do it, it's a different conversation, I guess.
That's so many games, man. I mean, I know he played through injuries and stuff, but like, you'd have to be like a kicker or something. Even like the kickers get hurt though. Like
Yeah.
that's
The
so many games to start in a row.
the steroid shots have really really done him a lot of favors.
I don't know. It's the copper things that he wears on his wrists or something.
The Levi's, man.
Yeah. All right, last one. Barry Sanders in college. So this was like in the 80s. There's really three things I'll mention. So you can pick and choose or let me know what you think. 1,628 rushing yards that season, 37 touchdowns with no bowl game or playoff games that year, and 238 yards per game is what he was averaging.
Wow. Okay, this was in college. What's the closest on any of those stats? Do you know?
I mean, I know Genty had a really good he had a very good record not that long ago, but I don't even think he was, and that's Aston Genty. It said he had close 2,601 yards in
Wow.
2024. So he was pretty close. He was
That's
about 27 yards away. But that was in 14 games. So Barry Sanders was in 11 games.
sure. Yeah,
That is
that changes things
crazy. Yeah.
for sure.
So, I mean, given the number of games, Alvin Gordon has said also was third with 2587. It doesn't say how
Wow,
many
I forgot
games
about
though.
Melvin Gordon,
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, that's a
yeah.
tough one. I mean, in the same number of games, I'd say no.
You mean with 11 games?
11 games, right? 11 if it's 11 games, it's not going to happen as these seasons, get longer and what have you. Sure,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yep.
But it's still a tough one. There's just always going to be that asterisk involved.
Okay, so that season he had 37 rushing touchdowns. He had 39 total. So he had a punt return and a kickoff return as well. I'm looking to see who was next on the list to give you kind of some context. 37. Okay, so the next 33 by Monty Ball, 2011 Wisconsin.
Wow.
32, 2024 Army, Bryson Daly. I've actually never heard of him. And then Devin Singletary had 32 in 2017 for Florida Atlantic.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean,
someone
maybe
was
at those
4
smaller
away.
colleges, right? Like some of those smaller colleges, I could see it in a D2 or whatever. But yeah, D1, I don't see it happening.
And then I'm curious the rushing yards per game, because now you have me wondering, like, I mean, dude, 238 rushing yards per game is wild. That is like unreal to me. No, this is like all-time touchdowns. Hold on, I'm very curious as to who is like even close to this. Let's see here. I don't know if they have oh yeah, right here, rushing yards. No, this is career rushing yards. Who do you think has the most rushing yards for career? It's someone you have no idea who they are.
Really? Are they
Donald,
D1?
yeah, Donald Pumphrey,
Yeah.
San Diego State, 2013 to 2016.
Yeah. What about how many down the list is somebody I would know?
Do you know Ron Dane, Wisconsin?
Maybe heard. Wisconsin's really surprising me here.
Yeah, Ricky Williams is third, Jonathan Taylor's
Okay.
fourth, Tony Dorsett's fifth, D'Angelo Williams, Royce Freeman of Oregon. Let's go.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys you would know. LaDainian Tomlinson's on here, Cedric Benson, Archie
Yeah.
Griffin. That one's a little
Sure.
more, I think, notable, but I don't know if they actually, I can't really find any, like a list of yards per game. But I mean, 238, dude, getting 238 yards rushing in general in one game is crazy, but averaging that is
Yeah.
unreal. Like,
Right.
unreal how much that is. So,
I mean, yeah. So many times you don't even get 300 yards of offense. So it's like,
yeah,
all
just
right. Well, let me ask you. I know you had a few queued up, but I got a few queued up myself. Let me start by asking you if there's any other records that just off the top of your head that you think are crazy.
the only one I can think of off the top of my head, I don't know why I know this or how I know this, but there was a quarterback out of Hawaii in like 2005 or 3 or something like that holds the all-time college football passing record for yards. And they're like a good chunk above like any, like whoever would be in like second or third. Or it's like it's like crazy when you look at it. It was like
Sure.
14,000 yards or some shit. And I think his name was, oh man, I just knew this the other week because I was talking about it with somebody. It's not Timmy Chang because he was one of their quarterbacks. I think it's Colt Brennan. I think he actually
Okay.
passed away not that long ago somehow. But that would be the only one that
Interesting.
I'm fairly confident in a trivia question that I could get.
All right. Yeah, and I'm talking any sports here, but all right, I got a couple. Bill Russell won 11 NBA championships.
Yep, I knew that one.
Um, Barry Bonds with 73 home runs in a single season. I don't
Steroids.
have the runner. We don't talk about that. Come on. Let's see. Talking about Olympics, right? You got Simone Biles and also the swimmer. Terrible, I can't remember his name.
Phelps.
Michael Phelps, right? Yeah,
Yep.
a couple disgusting records there. Uh, Usain Bolt, his 100-meter dash,
Mm-hmm.
9.58 seconds, pretty gross.
Look back
Well,
at everyone.
let's get into a couple fun ones. Going back to Detroit basketball.
Wow.
Dude, Rasheed Wallace. This one's kind of fun. Um, Actually, man, I gotta back up even further. He was with the Trailblazers at this
Oh,
time,
I was
actually.
gonna say people
Yeah,
forget about
yeah,
that.
yeah. 41 technical fouls that season in 01-02.
Oh
The
my
next
god.
the next closest, okay, the next closest was himself with 38. And then
Himself.
after that, you had Dwight Howard with 25 and Draymond Green with 23. That one kind of made me laugh.
That's a lot. I mean, his record is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
and then just like the cherry on top is he like beats himself for the record.
That's like one every other game.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
But then this last one, like we're all forgetting, on July 4th, there's a little competition that takes place
Hmm.
sponsored by Nathan's. If you ever heard of that
Oh,
little company.
yep. I've seen this
My
guy.
man, my man, Joey Chestnut, 83 dogs in 10 minutes, dude. Guy's just a glizzy gobbler. It's insane.
I don't know how he does that, man. That's disgusting.
Dude, how do you even stomach 83 dogs?
I I know. I mean, yeah, obviously he trains, but like I would literally throw up everywhere after like five.
Like, if you just think about going to the store and putting 83 dogs in your cart, like the volume that would take up.
He's got to do like an enema or something before. I don't know, something weird
But
because that's unreal.
yeah.
But
But yeah, that one came up and I got a chuckle out of that.
oh yeah, for sure. You want to do some March Madness stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not going to go through the entire bracket, but I just had four different categories that we can give people what our thoughts are. So who are your final four teams for the bracket?
Let me pull mine up. I don't remember, dude. I'm a
I,
bot when it comes to picking these.
oh, you're good. I'm going to pull mine up as well here. But I can tell you one of mine for sure is pretty sure I have Michigan. I don't know. There's a lot of Michigan haters out there.
Yeah, I got mine pulled up now.
Okay,
But
go
yeah,
ahead.
Michigan's in mine. Um, I don't know. I feel like Michigan's kind of had like a dominant season, but then they've kind of been humbled a couple of times. And what, Wisconsin, was it North Carolina was the other one,
Or was
right?
it Duke? Might have been
Duke or
Duke.
North Carolina. But either one of those teams, humbled them. So, and then obviously they just lost to Purdue. But it's like they've kind of come back. I feel like it's one of those scenarios where they lost at the right time.
Hmm.
Like you lose going into the tournament, now you have a chip on your shoulder. People don't think we can make it. I'm hoping that kind of mentality propels them through the tournament. Um, I have Duke in the tournament. I don't know why. I don't have a good reason for
They're
for
good.
that.
I mean,
They're
they're
Duke. I
good.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And then these other two, I just feel like are always really scrappy, good teams, and that's Houston. Houston's just always in the conversation. They're always there at the end, and then Arkansas. I just feel like those are just a couple scrappy teams. So Duke versus Houston and Michigan versus Arkansas in the Final Four.
Well, I don't know how, but you must have been copying my test because that's exactly who I have somehow. I
That's
swear.
crazy, dude.
I'm not even trolling. That's literally exactly who
That's
I have as
actually
well
crazy.
somehow. I I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't tell you why, but as I'm picking through stuff, that's who I have in the Final Four too. So,
right. Yeah,
how about your final teams, the final two, and your national champion? Because maybe we'll differ on this.
yeah. So I have Houston versus Michigan in the final. And I picked Michigan to win it. I don't know if I believe that, but well, I want to happen.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I have Duke versus Arkansas. I'm
Okay.
almost positive. So we do differ in that. So that will be our differentiator. If it's not Duke, it's Houston. I know I have Arkansas. I'm almost positive, but I can't remember if it's Duke or Houston. And for whatever reason, it's not pulling up on my phone. So we're going to go with Duke, Arkansas. Who do you have as your winner?
Michigan.
Okay. I think I picked Arkansas. I don't know why. Again, very random,
Yeah,
but I
that
was
is
like,
random.
let's try it. So, who do you have as your biggest upset in the first round? If you
Yeah,
had
I'm
to
looking through it right now.
if you had to pick one.
Gosh, I'm looking back and I went really safe. The only real upset, I picked TCU to beat Ohio State. That's an 8-9.
Okay. That's fair.
Um, and then I did pick Missouri to beat Miami, and that's a 7-10. Those are my only upsets that I have, and they're really,
I'm trying to remember. I may have picked McNeese over Vanderbilt. I'm trying to ride the McNeese upset train again. We'll see if it
yeah.
happens.
Was that last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I may have also picked South Florida over Louisville, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going based off my memory. And let me look at the other side. Akron over Texas Tech was, I think,
Okay.
another one that I tried to call. So those are a few that we'll see what happens. Who do you think, and I guess we might have already answered this, but number one seed that makes it the furthest?
Yeah, I mean, I picked Michigan. I just, I never fully believe. I never fully believe. I mean, maybe it's Duke.
Yeah, that's who I have for mine, but I don't know, man. Somehow it always ends up being someone random.
Yeah. I mean, and again, just that's the beauty of the tournament. Is you just never know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm super excited. I'm really looking forward to stuff starting out and seeing how things unfold, and hopefully we get some crazy upsets, that make things a little more fun, like we were just talking about.
Yep.
But we'll see how it rolls out. But
So
um,
how does,
yeah,
as far as you're doing a tournament bracket for the show,
yeah.
what's at stake? Anything? Is it just bragging rights?
Yeah, so sometimes in the past, what we've done is we'll give away some sort of a prize depending on who wins. We just try to get to see like about how many people enter first, and then we try to
Sure.
determine if it makes sense or not. So if we are
Yep.
going to do it, we'll try to make an announcement somewhere so people are aware. We've run into like a couple times where we like the one year we did, I think it might have been this, and there was like 80 people or something that entered and we just didn't even know who half the people were. So it was like hard to even like we couldn't even like figure the contact information out to know who like to send something to, if that makes
Sure.
sense. Because I think the way that we had the settings set up, it doesn't like doesn't make you put in your contact info. It's just like you put a bracket in and a random name. So it can be challenging if that makes sense. You have to like put your settings the right way. So
Yep.
we'll
So
see.
what I'm here so what I'm hearing is what's a good number on likes? A couple hundred likes and we get a hat.
Yeah, 100
Hat.
likes on the video, and maybe we'll give away $100 or something. I don't know.
Oh, now you're talking.
Oh, okay.
I might be making fake accounts, dude.
Well, it just turns into a bot account. Oh,
Oh,
hell
that's
yeah.
sick.
Cool, brother. Well, appreciate you hopping on, and we'll have to get together to do some bourbon and watch some March Madness soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's fun.
All right. Cheers.
See you, buddy.